More than 60 million Americans may not know they're drinking from water systems that exceed the standard level of toxic metal, in part as a result of a U.S. engineering decision made more than 150 years ago. According to the World Health Organization, almost 1 million people worldwide die from lead exposure each year. And the EPA projects at least 9.2 million lead service lines are still running underground in the country.
We just need to get as many lead pipes out as soon as possible instead of this wait and see approach that is not working.
People are now in a situation where they don't know who they can trust and what to do about their lead and water.
So how did a more than a century-old decision become a public health crisis today? While lead pipes were first brought into U.S. homes more than a century ago, the engineering concept actually came from ancient Rome, where they first started using lead pipes to build plumbing networks to bring water into their city and get rid of sewage. The material was considered durable, inexpensive, and long-lasting. Eventually, the technique made its way to the U.S., where lead pipes were used to provide indoor plumbing, starting in the mid-1800s, according to the National Library of Medicine.
It created a public health benefit because we had clean water coming into our homes to take baths and wipe out waterborne disease.
But eventually, Americans also began to use water for cooking and cleaning. And by the late 1800s, scientists in local publications were warning officials and residents of the dangers of lead pipes.
Folks who did use that water many times were horrifically lead poisoned, experienced miscarriages and fetal death.
But the groundwork was already laid. By the 1900s, nearly 70% of major cities were running off lead pipes. And also around this time, a public campaign by lead companies continued to push lead pipes in homes. Despite the warnings, many cities continued to install lead pipes for decades.
The large industrial cities that experience huge booms in terms of growth and adding new homes, about, say, 1900 up to about 1940. Those are the cities who installed their plumbing when lead pipe was popular.
And even in Chicago, where lead pipes were legal up until 1986.
My parents knew that they had lead service lines and were really concerned, and my parents immediately switched to bottled water. We didn't really know anything about changing our lead service lines.
Illinois is the second leading state for lead pipes. Chicago alone has more than 400,000 pipes in service, allowing residents to potentially be exposed to dangerous drinking water.
We just kind of adapted and adjusted to drinking bottled water, and I think that my parents have been drinking bottled water, and myself, for probably 30 years.
Eventually, in 1986, Congress amended the 1974 Safe Drinking Water Act to ban the use of lead pipes, but according to the revised law and the EPA, the lead pipes already installed were not required to be replaced. So what are the actual dangers of lead in the water? Lead is a colorless, tasteless, and odorless chemical element that cannot be detected in water. Both medical and public health experts say there is no safe level of lead in the human body, as the chemical element can cause damage to nervous systems and brain development. But young children are considered to be most vulnerable, as exposure to lead during critical development stages can cause delays in cognitive deficits. This means they could show an underperformance in school, potentially being denied educational opportunity and advancement. According to the CDC, about 500,000 children between the ages of 1 through 5 living in the U.S. have an elevated level of lead in their blood. This decades-long delay of replacing lead water pipes has led the U.S. to where we are now, a modern-day water crisis. The 2014 Flint water crisis amplified the lead pipe crisis across the country in mostly low-income areas and communities of color. But they weren't alone. Major metropolitan areas nationwide are still being affected today. New Jersey, Michigan, Chicago, Baltimore, Pennsylvania, Florida, and Texas are all among the largest cities or states where thousands still don't have clean drinking water or don't trust their water due to city advisories in the past.
Flint was a turning point because it became a national and international media sensation. Because you as a country, you're judged by how you treat your most vulnerable. In Flint, it was the poorest city in America.
Along with the dangerous health effects, having lead water pipes have been a financial burden for community residents too.
My neighborhood is a predominantly low-income community of color. With water rates going up, it's just a double slap in the face to not only pay for something that's potentially poisoning you, to pay bottled water tax on top of an uprising cost of Chicago water is just like really ridiculous.
So what's next for the 15 to 22 million Americans still drinking and cooking with tap water entering their homes through lead pipes? In the past, government officials have cited limited public funding and resources as a barrier to replacing the pipes.
The process to get lead pipes replaced in Chicago with my mom has been just such a long process.
Illinois lawmakers have given Chicago until 2077, more than 50 years to replace their lead service lines, compared to other cities like Flint and Newark, who replaced its lead pipes in under 5 years.
We've seen other cities that are smaller, but still, New Jersey and Benton Harbor, they already have new lead service lines, so we know it can be done.
In 2021, Biden signed a bipartisan infrastructure bill for $1.2 trillion, a part of his Build Back Better framework. $15 billion will be targeted towards replacing lead water pipes, and $50 billion to go towards fixing the nation's water's infrastructure system. The administration recently announced the Biden-Harris Get the Lead Out partnership by allocating additional resources to accelerate the lead pipes replacement plan.
I'm so hopeful for these infrastructure dollars to go to lead service line replacements. We know that there's no safe level of lead, so we just need to get these lead pipes out of the ground, and we need the money to come into these communities who are disproportionately suffering health impacts and replace those lead service lines first.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.